Yes, sir. Please start.
All right. So, first of all, I would like to brief about myself. I am the admin of this particular group, where we have a lot of team members who are contributing well from quite a long time, and this speaks a lot. We started off this group in 2014, so it is somewhere around 8 years. So, very small tenure we have completed. We are looking forward for a, longer collaboration. So if we talk about the group, I think most of you are already aware what kind of discussions, what we do, how we are managing the group. So in this group, we talk about the real-time scenarios in case you are facing any problem in your real-time environment. It can be related to routing switching. It can be related to load balancer, firewall, or it can be something else as well. When I say it is about the real-time scenarios, obviously it is going to include multiple technologies. So once you start working on any of the scenario where you have the source, destination, uh, then you find out the network path, and within network path there will be multiple technologies or domains included. So real-time scenarios are always a good mixture of multiple technologies where you might be expert at few technologies and you might have good idea about different technologies which is coming into the picture. So our focus is on real-time scenarios. Apart from this, we support for interviews also based on our experience. I mean, in our group we have like lot of people who are fresher also, and there are a lot of group members who are having very good experience as well, like 15 years, 20 years, and even more than that. Along with the different level of certification, starting from CCNA, we have a lot of CCI people also in the group. So thanks to all of them, I mean, for contributing well in the group. We have people who are like multiple CCIs also with very good experience. So keeping all this, we just capture the information which is provided by different skilled engineers. So we do the interview guidance. We discuss about the common questions in interviews, tips and tricks. What are the common mistakes? So everything we cover, although it seems like it is more focused on the real-time issues, but we try to cover everything. Reason being, the ultimate motto or the ultimate aim of everyone is to get good opportunity, which can support you financially and also which can support you to enhance your technical skills, and you can also contribute well to the environment, like wherever you are working in your organization, in your project or network environment. So everything we cover in this group. So I would like to congratulate Skilled Inspirational Academy for planning out this session. Reason being, I talk to a lot of group members, like in person also. They are preparing for the interviews. They are doing very well technically. They are reading out all the Cisco documents, like official documents. They go through multiple videos, and they are preparing very well on different scenarios. But when it comes to interviews, I think knowledge is required. I mean, there is no substitute for that, but there are some tips and tricks which can give you upper hand as compared to other candidates. Those tips and tricks are very important. uh, I conduct lot of interviews. I am conducting interviews from last 7 to 8 years, and as per my experience, I have seen there are candidates which are quite good if you discuss everything purely technically with them, if you meet them in person. Uh, but when it comes to interview where you have to express everything in a short time, more efficiently, in a detailed way, they are lacking somewhere. So then we thought, okay, let's have a session or let's have a demo session for the group members regarding the interviews. What exactly we should do. So we started off or we prepared the content from the basic about the resume, and then we will cover some of the scenarios also, some of the common questions also, what are the appropriate answers for those questions. So I would say keep contributing to the group. We are glad to have so many group members with different skill set, and I'm sure, I mean, we will keep on growing. All right, so let me take you quickly to the PPT, discussing some of the key points based on my experience, based on the interviews I have conducted. Let me share my another screen. One moment. Okay, I'll start with the resume guidelines. So it seems to be a very generic thing, or it seems to be very cliche line that okay, resume should be very well prepared. But again, it is a very generic statement when you say it is very well prepared. What exactly it means? What are the do's and don'ts? I mean, we should be taking care of when it comes to resume. All right. One of the common thing, I mean, which everybody will look at, you might be doing the mistake. Just for example, let's say you have experience of 5 to 6 years and you have already changed your organization some 6 to 7 times. So although I do not recommend this, I mean, to keep on changing the organization in such a short span, reason being you will not be able to get the real experience, I mean, wherever you are working. So, in case you have already changed your organization multiple times, at least do not highlight this. I mean, don't keep this on the first page in the form of table or something. Because in some of the resume I have seen, they have experience of 5 years, and on the first page itself, they have mentioned almost 7 lines in the form of a table that okay, from this duration to this duration, I was in this company. So by looking at the table, everything skipped from my mind, and then I started focusing on those 7 lines. Like this person has changed the organization 7 times in 5 years. So if it, I mean, if it has already happened, it is fine. But at least do not highlight on the first page, which will be clearly visible to the interviewer. So that should be avoided. That surely this is not going to give the good expression. Apart from this, another thing, some of the resume I get almost for 4 pages, 5 pages, and even up to 6 pages also I have seen. So it seems like I am reading a ebook, which is not required. Reason being, interviewer takes lot of interviews in a day. I mean, they're in the process of hiring. They might be hiring for multiple positions. They might be getting some hundreds of resume. Say, so they do not have the time to read resume of the 5 to 6 pages. This is a fact. In fact, you would see that once the experience keeps on increasing, everybody starts making resume in very short summarized format. They straight away focus on the technologies they have worked on. They straight away focus on the type of customers they have handled. So that is how we have to do. Interviewer will be I mean, they are quite happy when they get a resume of 2 pages. They can easily look into each and everything. Okay, what are the technologies? What are the different roles handled by the candidate? And what are the different type of customers? And this way, I mean, your resume will be more effective. So you might be thinking that okay, I have prepared for 5 to 6 pages. It is quite detailed one, and almost everything I have written. But that is not true. Resume should only highlight the brief things. I mean, it is a high level overview, and everything else you need to explain in the interview. When it comes to communication between you and the interviewer, that is the time when you have to speak out. You have to explain each and everything in a more detailed manner. At that time, ball is in your court. I mean, you can make it more like you can explain this in a more efficient manner where interviewer would like to listen a lot from you. So there you need to play a vital role instead of explaining, or you can say writing down each and everything in resume. So please avoid that. Other thing, in case you are certified in different technologies, let's say some 2 to 3 technologies, you could be a CCNP in routing and switching. You may have certification for load balancer, for security. Highlight them. I mean, it is your achievement. Because in some of the cases, I have seen certifications are quite hidden somewhere, like within those 3 to 4 pages. No, you don't have to keep it anywhere like randomly in those pages. These are your achievements. You should highlight these certification or logos at the top of the resume. Highlight it so that everybody can see. I mean, if there is an interview panel, everybody should be able to see that okay, this person is certified in so and so technologies. But yes, at the same time, responsibility also comes on your shoulders. When someone will look at your resume that okay, this person is certified in these and these technologies, so some expectation will be there. So please meet up that expectation. Confidently represent your certification and then justify that as well in the interview. Another thing about the roles and responsibilities you are playing in your current organization, it is quite clumsy sometimes. I'll be very honest, when I take interviews and if I ask for what is your roles and responsibilities, it goes absolutely in some random direction sometimes. I mean, the candidate starts talking about the technical scenarios that I'm working on these kind of scenarios on day-to-day basis. That is absolutely a different question. If I ask you about roles and responsibilities, that is a different question. I mean, talk very clearly if you are into operations, if you are into implementation, or if you are into design and all. You could be in some other profile also, like pre-sales and all. So basically, you need to talk about your role and designation, which is assigned to you. Once you tell about this, interviewer can easily understand or can easily make up his or her mind like what should be the direction of the interview. If you say I'm completely into operations, then obviously interview will go more into the incident management and all. If you say I'm into design and implementation, the more focus will be on the your current setup, what kind of device models you are using, what about the locations you are supporting, is it the data center, number of locations, how is the connectivity between them, different models you have in the core layer, distribution layer, access layer. So questions will keep on changing. What kind of inputs you get from the customer? Do you prepare the HLD diagrams, LLD diagrams, documents, and run books? These kind of questions also comes into picture. So please do not explain the technical scenario when somebody is asking for the your roles and responsibility or the designation you are holding. Focus purely on on your role which is assigned to you in your current organization. And the most common is again, I mean, it could you might be in operations, you may be supporting any kind of environment, but you might be in operations. You can be in implementation, you can be in design, pre-sales, sales, and in some of the cases, implementation and design is little bit combined. So talk about that. And another thing, in some of the cases, I have seen you are like majorly working under the operations, like 70 to 80% you take care of the incident management, but for some 20 to 25% of your total time, you dedicate to some implementation and design also, which is coming in from the customer as per the scenario. Let's say they do some acquisition, then in that case, I mean, you will be taking care of the design and implementation also for that particular scenario. So talk about that. And on the first page itself, mention clearly about the technology. Everybody will be very keen to read about okay, what exactly uh, I mean, what kind of experience you have in which technologies. Mention clearly routing, switching, load balancer, security, wireless, SD-WAN, automation, whatever it is. I mean, instead of explaining everything in detail, at least mention the keywords. Keywords can do the magic. If I read one line with the technologies name mentioned, I mean, it gives very clear picture that, okay, I need to focus on these four technologies. Candidate is having experience on routing, switching, wireless, and security. Let's focus on that. Then I'll not be asking any irrelevant question related to like some other technologies. So this is going to save your time and interviewer time also. And again, next point is something very basic. Do not use all kind of fonts in your resume. It might seems to be a simple thing, but this gives a perception in interviewer mind that okay, a person is given time to resume or it is just copy pasted and sent. So don't use all type of colors and all. Don't make bold fonts and do not mix up all the fonts in your resume. Because some candidates they are preparing resume in a very well defined format. It seems they have given a lot of time, and some resume it looks like okay, it is just copy pasted and prepared just few hours ago when it was sent to the HR. Okay, and prefer to send your resume in PDF format. Don't send in the Word document. Because once you send in the Word document, a lot of errors, grammatical errors, everything is highlighted. It looks like we are reading some, run book or maybe something, some technical documents getting prepared by somebody. Send it in the PDF format. I mean, even if there is grammatical mistake or something, it will not be highlighted. But once you send the Word document, almost complete resume is having some 10 to 12, at least 10 to 12 kind of errors where it is highlighted and all. Avoid this. And in case you have experience or you have exposure to the demanding technologies, which is like quite demanding in the market, highlight them on the first page itself. Make your first page about the technologies, about the type of customers you have handled, about your experience, summary, designation, roles and responsibility. Utilize your first page. Second page will be little bit more detailed about the technologies you have worked upon. So 2 pages, you are done. No need to have a ebook prepared for the resume. All right, let's move to the next one. This is one of the sample I was talking about. If I have to prepare my resume on the first page, it will be something like this. Very brief, how much is the experience? If I have worked in the data center mainly like enterprise network, service provider, telecom domain and all. And about my designation also, whether I was in consulting, designing, implementation, testing, what kind of customers I have supported, whether they are all based for in US, Europe, or like maybe in Asia. Technologies, keywords I was talking about, just look at it. I mean, this is kept for reference so that you can have a similar kind of thing in your resume. Routing, switching, nexus, wireless, load balancer, firewall. It can be like checkpoint. It can be some other vendors as well. WAN optimizer, SD-WAN. Within SD-WAN also there are multiple vendors. Cisco has given their solution. VMware has given their solution. You can I mean write down about one particular, and in case you have more experience you can write down about other vendors also. Just for example, Cisco is having Viptela, VMware is having Velo Cloud. This is the VMware product. Meraki. In cloud, you may have experience on Azure or maybe AWS. If I talk about documentation, HLD, LLD, Ops Manual, RCs, SOPs, what kind of documents you have prepared? So this is also going to help you. The tools whichever you are using in your current environment or like as per your past experience. Mention the all these things on your first page. It is going to give the impact. Try it out, modify your resume and start giving the resume and just see the impact. Like what is the direction taken by the interviewer once you modify your resume. All right, another one very common question: why do you want to leave your current organization? Irrespective of your tenure in your current organization or like irrespective of your total experience, this question is again quite common. So what we should avoid, these things please. Although we all are smart enough like not to give these answers, but I have seen I get these answers also, that work culture is not so suitable, this is not as per my expectation. So this is never appreciated. I mean, in case you are joining some organization, obviously you need to align with multiple processes which is laid by the organization, which has been laid by the customer. So you cannot say that okay, this is not matching my expectation. Whenever you are entering into an organization, you should always have this thing in your mind that okay, I need to align myself completely with the organization and the customer. to which I am supporting. You cannot say schedules are quite hectic. You have already committed during your interview that, okay, I am okay with 24 cross 7. So you cannot have the excuse after that. Relocation again, I mean, it is part of the, you would say it is quite common in IT culture. You may have to relocate and everything you have already accepted while you are receiving your offer letter and all. So these things cannot be the excuse. Work pressure is too much, or the customer is very demanding. It is absolutely normal. It is quite common in all the IT organization. So if you give these kind of answers, the person will have this perception that, okay, you may not be comfortable with the IT culture. These things are quite common in every organization. These things are quite common. So avoid these statements. What could be the appropriate or balanced answer? Let me give you one or two example. So if I have to answer, my answer would be my current organization has offered me a lot in technical enhancement and growth at different front. Handling customers more efficiently, I have learned in my current organization. Understanding the criticality of business. And yes, it matters. Let's say if you are supporting a banking customer, requirement would be absolutely different. If you are supporting a healthcare customer, requirements would be different. If you are supporting some production company, let's say automobile production company, then situation is different. SLAs are different. Customer customer expectation would be different. So if you not only talk about your technical enhancement, if you talk about handling customers also, understanding the customer, understanding the criticality of the business, that is also important. And mostly this part is missed. Even if I get the like I would say a better answer, in those answers also mostly heard about technical enhancement. So that is about you. What about you offer to the customer? That is also very much important. And now, why I'm looking for change? I am looking forward to utilize my skills in a different, challenging environment where I can contribute efficiently and deliver well as per my roles and responsibilities, whatever will be assigned to me. So that would be a balanced answer. You have talked about your current organization in a positive manner that, okay, I have learned a lot, everything was good. Now it is the time to switch or to go to another level in a different, challenging environment. All right. So this was like one of the, I would say, possible answer you can give. Another thing, one more answer. I mean, in a different, articulative manner, that I have got good opportunity in my current organization to enhance my skills along with the experience to handle multiple customers efficiently. And as per my understanding in current environment, as per like defined organization structure, there could be some limitation further, which I completely understand, which is absolutely okay. So I am planning to move to another role, but yes, I will always be grateful for the experience and the learning I gained in my current organization. So career growth is the reason, along with the, yes, of course, financial growth, which must go hand in hand. But mostly what I listen, let me tell you very honestly, I just listen this about this word that I am planning for change for career growth. I mean, make it elaborative. You are there in the interview to communicate, right? So instead of giving just one or two word, talk about it. Take a minute at least. Show your interest. Why do you want to leave your current organization, or why do you want to join us? So make it elaborative, take 30-40 seconds, go maximum up to 1 minute, but don't keep it restricted to just one or two word, right? All right. Let me move to another one. Okay, another common question. If somebody asks you, can you brief about yourself? Prepare something meaningful for to talk for 2 minutes. Because sometimes I have seen when I say, can you brief about yourself, it gets finished within 10 seconds. That, okay, I am working in this organization as this, whatever is the designation. But in some cases, it keeps on going. I mean, lot of things candidate starts explaining. It should be precise, it should be summarized within 2 minutes, and everything should be covered. Talk about your current organization, your tenure, total years of experience, technologies you have handled. What is your job role? Are you into operations, implementation, design? What kind of documentation you prepare? So talk about these things in brief. Prepare for 2 minutes. Okay, this is my favorite one. If somebody is asking you to explain day-to-day scenarios, prepare something meaningful which you can explain in a minute or two. Because sometimes candidates are blank. Okay, what is my day-to-day responsibility? They are quite directionless sometimes. Prepare about 4 to 5 lines what kind of work you do. Just for example, you can talk about the switching, that okay, mostly I work on these kind of things. We have lot of stack implemented in our environment, so I work on stacking issues. I work on VSS issues. You can talk about HSRP, like I'm particularly talking about switching and routing at all. So prepare those things well in your mind. If somebody gives you free hand that okay, talk about the scenario, then explain something which is having combination of a different skill set, and plus the interviewer can ask some good questions out of it, and you should be able to answer as well. This is going to give impact, and this is going to give a positive start in the interview. So prepare about that. I mean, do not just wait for the interview and within the interview start thinking it. And mostly we don't get the right answers. I mean, they don't even explain like what exactly they do on day-to-day basis. They were expecting that okay, some straight away question will come, what is HSRP, or what are the different states in so and so protocol. So they were prepared for that, but prepare for this also. Because sometimes, I mean, I give free hand to the candidates that okay, explain about day-to-day scenarios, and they are quite good at it. They make an impact. They start explaining something very good. I mean, they talk about the challenges or the incidents they handled. So prepare something from your real time, whatever you are doing. All right. Again, I mean, I have noted down some of the basic question. If somebody misses out on the basic questions, okay, purely this is related to routing and switching, although we are going to cover some other technologies also. So basic questions should always be ready. If you miss out on the basic, I mean, don't expect any good question to come after that. If somebody don't tell me what is the purpose of the trace route, which we do almost on every incident, we ask for the source, we ask for the destination, then we find out the network path. So if somebody is not aware what is trace route, what is the purpose of it, then obviously, believe me, this is not a good starting. After that, do not expect good questions to come in, and the perception will be there in the interviewer mind that okay, uh, candidate is not good with the basics. Candidate will get stuck in most of the scenarios. So very basic questions. What is trace route? You do on day-to-day basis, almost in every incident. What is the purpose of the ARP? You may be good at lot of technical scenarios. You may be good at BGP scenarios, route maps, tweaking the traffic and everything. But if you miss out on basic, then it may not go into the right direction. And let me tell you another thing. If I ask this question, if I provide you the IP address, can you find this particular IP address where it is connected in the network? Believe me, this is a simple question, it seems, but out of 10 candidates, only I would say just one or two candidates give the right step by step answer. Mostly, let me tell you what kind of answers we get. That okay, we are managing some Excel sheet, we are having some IP management tool, from there we can find out. These are specific to your organization, these are specific to some particular project. Talk about technical things, how you can find out. So step by step approach, you will log in into one of the jump server, which may be somewhere in your head office or maybe in your data center. From there you are going to trace is going to give you the layer 3 path. Then you will log in into the second last hop. From there you will start checking the ARP output, and ultimately you will be landing to one particular switch or the port where your end device is connected. So give step by step approach, layer 3, layer 2 and all. But believe me, I mean, this common question also we don't get the right answer. And what is my next statement to the candidate? That okay, if you can't find out where a particular IP address is connected, troubleshooting can never be done. This is the basic, this is the first step. You can never find out the source where it is, you cannot find the destination where it is, and the path between them. Another common question: how to troubleshoot the slowness issues? Prepare a checklist in your mind. I mean, I'll give you the example also for this one particularly. Reason being, this is a common one. So if somebody asks you I mean, how to troubleshoot the slowness issue, most of the time I get answer in a single line that it can be related to high bandwidth utilization. That cannot be the, I mean, complete answer. This is just one reason out of many. So whenever somebody is asking, have a kind of a checklist in your mind so that person can understand. Uh, I mean, you think logically, you think smartly, you have the checklist, you have the different plan of action for any of the issue. That okay, this is the issue, these are my checklist. Point number one, two, three, four, five, something like this. Okay. I'll discuss this one. I'll take another 2 minutes for slowness issue. Basic thing, how to resolve the high CPU utilization issue. Because everybody knows high CPU utilization issue, how to check, I mean the commands and all basic things, but how to resolve it, that is important. There everybody gets stuck, and this is one of the common problem in the network environment, and high CPU utilization can cause many problems. It can cause problem to the SNMP communication, it can cause problem to HSRP, STP. Basically, when the CPU utilization is high for any of the network devices, so most of the actions will be hampered. It can create any kind of problem, absolutely any kind of problem. So read about it, talk about the example, different kind of processes you have encountered in your current organization. Very basic thing. I don't get the answer for this also. What are the different error types on the interface? So these basic things you can prepare within 1 hour or 2 hour, and this is going to give a good direction at least to the interview. Very basic thing, how to find out the internet path in your current environment, how you do it. I don't get answer for this also. Although this seems to be a basic that we will have the default route for the internet, next hop will be configured for firewall. So these basic things are also missing. If somebody is asking, explain the current setup which you are supporting, have the answers for this. Start off like this, that okay, I am supporting 4 data centers which are spread it across this particular region, supporting some 500 locations. All locations are having redundant connectivity in terms of MPLS. We have dual routers at every location, dual MPLS connection. Internet is centralized at the data center. These kind of things you can talk about. Talk about the device models you are using. Just for example, in data centers, we have the Nexus 7K, Nexus 9K. And if I talk about the locations, we have, just for example, 6500 series in the core layer. In the distribution layer, we are using 3850, which are configured in the stack. In access layer, we have another models. So basically, when you start off like this, the interviewer will get a clear picture that, okay, this person is having a pretty good idea about the environment. He's quite active, whatever he is supporting. So talk about these things. Yes, please. Okay, this is for Himanshu. Yes. Okay. Can you type in the chat,
I
or
think
maybe you can speak?
Himanshu is not able to mute himself. You can
Okay,
chat.
so
You can chat Himanshu. You can put your question in chat if you have.
yeah, Himanshu, please paste in the chat. I think I have taken a lot of time. I will take another 5 minutes maximum, and then we will take up some queries also. Okay, I was talking about the slowness issues. Then answer in such a way that you have a very clear picture in your mind. The first statement, what you see on the screen, I never get this answer. I mean, very, very rare. For the slowness issue, the first question we should be asking about the nature of the issue. This is absolutely important. Without this first point, slowness issues can never be resolved. You should ask about the pattern of the issue. Slowness happens at some defined time, let's say daily at 10 a.m. in the morning, or it happens all the time throughout the day, or there is no pattern. It is absolutely random. The way you troubleshoot in different situation, it is going to change completely. If it is random, you need a tool. You need packet capture, which is going to capture the data for some particular timeline, like let's say for 5 hours or 6 hours. Your ping and trace is not going to help you out if there is no pattern and it is quite random. Ask about this first point. If somebody is asking in the interview, talk about this, that okay, first point I'm going to ask about the nature of the issue. This is absolutely important. Since when this slowness started, and do you have any error screenshot like which can be attached? I will ask about the error type, whether it is wired users who are facing the problem, wireless, or everybody is facing the problem. You can ask about the source. You can ask about the proxy also. In some of the cases, I have seen proxy is also one of the problem. Just for example, for one user, the traffic is going via different proxy, and for another user, traffic is going via different proxy. So there we can involve the proxy team. So if you give these kind of answers, interviewer will understand that okay, this person is smart enough to understand the basic of other technologies also, like how to involve them, how to engage them in real time examples. You may not be expert or good at proxy, firewall, or everything, but you should be smart enough to have the valid questions from them so that your issue can be resolved. This is expected. If you give this kind of picture, believe me, you are absolutely in the right direction. You will have the upper hand as compared to other candidates. If somebody is asking about the diagrams or setup, be quick in it that okay, what kind of models you are using. You have just for example, this is one of the site, this is one of the data center. Talk about the data center. We have the Nexus 7K configured in VPC. Then firewall is there after the Nexus. Then internet router is there. Internet traffic goes out. Similarly, talk about the routers at the location. We have dual routers. Talk about their model. Talk about the connectivity, whether it is MPLS or SD-WAN or something else. What is your demarcation point? Till which point you are managing? Just for example, if this is a SD-WAN connectivity, then these devices most probably will be managed by the vendor, whether it is a Cisco Viptel or Velo Cloud. Then your demarcation point will be the core switch. So these kind of terms will give you upper hand that okay, I'm managing till core switch. From core switch we have this kind of routing to the WAN device. Then it goes out via SD-WAN. From SD-WAN it enters into data center, goes to the core switch in the data center, which is Nexus 7K. From there it hits to the firewall, then to the internet router, and it goes out. Explain in this way. I mean, don't be blank in these kind of questions. Okay, this is about one of the example regarding like layer 2 network, large layer 2 network. If any server or any end host is connected on the layer 2 switch, how to find out? Just for example, these are core switches. A normal, I mean, nomenclature is given as S1, S2. They are configured in VSS, for example, and below that, multiple layer 2 switches are connected. And if somebody is ask you, if somebody gives you this particular IP address and ask you how to find out, you should have this kind of answers that okay, if I have been given with the IP address, this is how I am going to find out. I am going to trace route from the jump server. In trace route, this core switch will be visible. Reason being, this is a layer 3 device, and these all will not be visible. So how I am going to check? I am going to check the ARP output. From the ARP, I'll be able to understand that okay, I am learning the MAC address from, just for example, this particular interface. From this interface, I will see whether another layer 2 switch is connected or I am able to reach the end host. And in this example, you will see that okay, I am going to another layer 2 device. From this layer 2 device, again I am going to check the MAC address table. I am going to learn that okay, this MAC address is being learned from this interface, and this way I'll reach ultimately to this particular IP. So basically talk about the step-by-step approach that okay, first of all I will find the layer 3 path, and then within layer 2 environment, this layer 2 environment, I will find out based on the ARP and the MAC address table where this particular server is connected. give the give this kind of answers. But mostly what I get that okay, I am going to refer one Excel which we have in our current environment. I mean that is particular to your organization. Talk about technical approach. Talk about something generic which you can utilize in any of the environment. All right, so I think today we have a, I mean, good mixture of the some basic things about resume, about your organization, do's and don'ts, what you should speak in interview, what kind of preparation you should do before the interview, and we test upon about some of the technical scenarios, also common technical scenarios. All right, so I think without taking much time, Himanshu was having some query.
He is having some query regarding the slowness actually, so I think he got the
Yes.
answer.
Okay. Great. Great.
Yep.
So, team, I would say in case you have any quick questions, you can type in the chat also. We can take this up. And otherwise, I mean, we are going to cover a lot of things once this course will be started. So there also you will have the interview guidance. And now also feel free to have any query. All right. So
Yep.
without taking much time, so in case I mean you type in the chat, we can take this up later as well. Thank you.
Yep. Thank you, Samir sir, for providing this wonderful information. Now let me share my screen. Okay. So guys, now just give me 1 second. Okay. So I think my screen is visible, right? So let me just tell you one thing, guys. So this particular training, we are starting from 15th of May, which is tomorrow. And it's a weekends classes. So your classes will happen on Saturday and Sunday. And basically timing will start from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. And after every session, basically we will be available till 1 hour for your Q&A session, where you can ask such kind of questions like how you can prepare your resume, if you want to discuss any kind of production environment related issues which you are facing in your current organization, right? So such kind of things we will basically cover after that. Okay, now in this particular training, basically what kind of support you will get. So basically in this training, we are totally focusing on Palo Alto firewall. And basically if you will go through with this training, you will easily able to crack PCNSE exam. And we will give you the 100% guarantee you can able to crack the PCNSE exam, even though you can also able to crack any kind of interview with regards to Palo Alto, because in this training I will also cover your VPN, which is your IPsec VPN in detail. Okay, now if you enroll for this training, so it's a 32 plus hours of training. You will get the lifetime interview support. A lifetime means whenever you have an interview, you can call us and we will basically help you. We will take one mock interview as well for you, and we will guide you where you are lagging and what are the topics which you need to prepare. You will get the handwritten leg workbook. These workbook you can use for preparing the theory part of this particular Palo Alto firewall. You will also get the lifetime recorded videos. So these videos we will share through the Google Drive, and you will get the lifetime access of these videos. We will help you building the lab in your laptop. If let's suppose your laptop is not having good configuration, in that case we will also help you building the lab in Google Cloud, because when you will subscribe on the Google Cloud by using your credit card, they will give you 300 USD as a free credit for 3 months or for 90 days, which we can utilize for doing this particular lab. It's a weekends classes and practical issue discussion. So guys, as I have mentioned, after every session we are available for 1 hour, where you can discuss your live issues as well. Whatever issue you are facing, you can discuss. If your lab is not working, so such kind of issue discussion we will provide. We will give you the mock interview support as well. So you, the only condition on this particular part, you should have to complete all the entire training, and after that you have to inform us around 4 days before your interview, because we have to schedule a call with you according to our availability and your availability. Okay, now let me just go through with the Palo Alto course content, guys. What are the things we used to cover in this particular training? Not this one. Yeah, here it is. So I will not explain this course content in detail, guys. Okay. So generally in your Palo Alto course content, we will explain you platform and architecture. So we will here in this class, you will get the internal architecture, how the Palo Alto components are connected. Like if you will see this diagram, what is the use of this Marvel chip? What is the use of Tiger Liger chip? What is Octeon chip? What is Ocelot and Jaguar chip, right? How your packet is flow between these chips. Because if you have an issue at your data plane, right? How you can troubleshoot? We will basically check the logs or check the counters on these particular chips. Let's suppose you have received a device from Palo Alto, and how you can make sure this device is not faulty, how you will troubleshoot, right? So we have to check this entire data path. There are a few commands which we can run to check this particular entire data path, and these details I am basically sharing with you guys. Let me just come back here, and after it I will explain the flow logic, or we can say life of a packet in your PAN-OS. So they, on this topic, basically this is the most important topic of your interviews. In every interview they will ask, what is the packet flow in Palo Alto, or can you explain life of a packet in Palo Alto, right? How Palo Alto going to handle this packet? So let me just tell you, or what I will do, I will cover that particular entire flow in a while. Let me just go through with the course content, guys, and after we will see how we can do the initial configuration, how we can access this file initially. This thing is very important, because let's take an example. You are in India and you are working from your home location, right? And you have to do all kind of configuration into your firewall, which is in USA, maybe some remote location, right? In that case, how you can do the initial configuration, how you can guide your field engineer, right? So he will basically provide you the access properly. What are the things you have to take care, you have to think before that actually? So such kind of things we will see in initial configuration, how we can configure the interface on the Palo Alto management interface, how we can configure the DNS NTP details, how we can create a CLI template for it. So these kind of things we will discuss in detail. Then how we can do the configuration management, how we can do the licensing and software updates, because whenever you will receive a Palo Alto device, you have to do the licensing, you have to register this device with the support portal, right? So what are the ways, what are the different ways we are having for basically doing this thing? Then we will see account administration, account administer using Radius server, account administration using LDAP server, how we can create accounts for L1 users, L2 users, how we can basically fetch all the user details from the Active Directory, right? How we can create the admin roles basically according to the level, how we can provide the level of access, or how we can control the authorization level of an user, right? So we have to go with the admin rules, how we can configure them. So this part we will discuss in detail, and after that I will basically move towards your interface configuration, security zones concept, your Palo Alto deployment modes like layer 2 deployment, layer 3 deployment, virtual wire and tap mode deployment, right? How we can create a sub interfaces, how we can configure DSCP, what is virtual routers, what is the multi virtual router concept, and what is the use case or best use case for this particular setup, how we can configure all these features, how we can create a CLI template for that. Everything we will discuss in detail. And when we will complete that part, I'll just move towards the security policy and net policies, because if you are working or if you are a firewall admin, or so the thing is, your firewall basically designed for doing your security policy, your net policies, your BPN, and your layer 7 inspection. These are the four functionalities or core functionalities of an firewall, guys. So the thing is, the security policy, net policy, these are the very, very critical topics basically. And if you don't know how you can configure these policies, what are the different types of net we are having, so we will basically discuss these things in detail. All the use case of net I will cover in detail along with the logs. Then after I just go move towards your application identification, because app ID is a core functionality of your Palo Alto firewall. How app ID is implemented, how Palo Alto basically process, or how Palo Alto do the application identification, how your traffic Palo Alto send to the Jaguar chip. If you will see this diagram here, because this particular chip inside your Palo Alto firewall is responsible for your app ID and your content ID. Then how this chip going to process the packet? So we will discuss in detail what is AHO algorithm, what is DFA algorithm, what is PS scan algorithm, right? Why we have these algorithms? Because if you are working on VM devices, right, or over virtual devices, so virtual devices, they don't have this particular chip. Then how your AHO and DFA, they will basically take the help of the internal CPU, and basically they will provide you the app ID and content ID. So we will discuss this part in detail. Now let me come back to here. We will discuss in the same way. We will discuss content ID, antivirus, anti-spyware, vulnerability protection. So for all these features, guys, I will use my Kali Linux machine where I will launch the live attacks, and we will see how Palo Alto firewall is bypassed, or when we configure these profiles, how Palo Alto firewall is providing the protection. Then we will see the URL filtering, how URL filtering is implemented. Everything we will see in detail. What is EDL concept on firewall or in Palo Alto? What is file blocking policies? What is wildfire? What is security profiles? So we will see all these things practically in detail. Then I will move towards zone protection and DOS protection, guys. So in zone protection and DOS protection, basically we will see how we can launch the DDoS attacks, or how we can launch SYN flood attack, UDP flood attacks, live attacks we will see. And we will see how we can basically choke the entire CPU or a bandwidth of an network. That part we will see practically, and when I will launch these attacks by using my Kali Linux machine, you will see the difference there. Then we will see the decryption, because I have seen this is the most critical topic of an Palo Alto firewall. Here I will tell you how Palo Alto firewall start the decryption. What is the concept of FPTCP segments, where it will store that particular layer 7 information, right? Because you will see most of your CPU utilization or your memory leak problems is happens due to this FPTCP segments, or due to decryption is not configured properly. Then we will discuss here certificate management, detailed discussion on your SSL handshake. Then we will discuss what is outbound SSL decryption and how it is implemented in your PAN OS. Then we will see inbound SSL decryption, then SHS proxy or SHS decryption, because nowadays people are launching attack by using the SHS proxy. And after it, I'll just move towards your user identification. How we can configure, what is the scope of user ID, what are the requirements. Here we will see how we can integrate Active Directory using LDAP, how we can configure the inbuilt Palo Alto agent for achieving users to IP mapping. What is user ID agent? When we will complete with that, I will move towards your IPsec VPN, where we will discuss phase 1 and phase 2 exchange. And guys, I used to teach IPsec VPN in detail. Here, if someone is working on IPsec VPN, they may be aware about that. We have main mode, then we have quick mode, right? In main mode, we have 6 messages, and out of these 6 messages, message number 1, 2, 3, and 4, they will basically exchange in clear text. Remaining 5, 6, then 7, 8, and 9, right? These messages go in encrypted way, right? And after that, whatever communication will happen, it will be encapsulated inside ESP, which is a encrypted communication, right? So I will tell you how we can do the decryption. How they will basically my Palo Alto create the session keys, SKID E, SKID A, and D. These keys for basically decrypting these ESP messages, these message number 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. So we will take out these keys. We will see entire flow in detail, guys. And after it, I will move towards your IPsec tunnel concept. And in BPN, basically, we will see around 13 use cases. It will cover almost everything which you wants to know with regards to your Palo Alto firewall. And after that, I'll just move towards your global protect, because global protect, if you want to do the troubleshooting, right, you have to know the most important part, which is global protect connection flow. If I'll say, when we connect with the global protect, how many SSL tunnel is created and terminated, right? You don't able to answer this question, right? What is the process running on Palo Alto firewall who will basically responsible for all these global protect transactions? What is REST manager daemon? What is FBAP3 daemon, right? What is SSL? What is SSL engine or SSL manager, right? What is key manager? What is the use of all these daemons? How this global protect works, we will see in detail, guys. We will see here global protect connection method, like what is user logon, what is pre-logon, then on demand, what is pre-logon, then user logon, what is on demand method, right? So we will see all these 4 deployment types of your global protect. And after that, I'll just move towards your active passive high availability, where we will see how we can do the deployment of your active passive HA, your active HA, along with all these particular deployment modes like floating IP, rfloat share, mix modes. We will see in detail. And after that, guys, I will go through with the troubleshooting webinar, where we will see what is the concept of packet filter, packet capture, what is flow basic, right? If you will run this flow basic, you can able to get such kind of stream, basically Palo Alto Fire flow basic TCP stream. How we can take out this TCP stream means how Palo Alto is processing the SYN packet, right? What is ingress stage? So everything we will see this in detail, like this kind of stream we will take out for all your TCP communication. Then how your firewall is processing SYN plus ACK, right? We will see all these things in detail in your flow basics session. Then I will also go through with the TCP dump, how basically your TCP dumps helps you in capturing the management traffic on you, or we can say in your whatever traffic which is coming into your management interface, how we can troubleshoot. So this part I will cover in TCP dump. So this is the course content, guys. Now let me come back here. So I will not take much time, guys, because I have already run the demo, because few people have requested me to just let's have one more demo. So that's why I'm running. So guys, what I will do today, what I will cover here how Palo Alto Fiber process the packet when it received. This is the most important interview question as well, right? In interview, what they will ask, we have we have sent the traffic and Palo Alto receive this traffic. Now how Palo Alto handle this traffic? Or by taking this question, I will also cover some part of your packet flow as well, because guys, packet flow is a very, very big topic. If I start explaining, I need at least 1.5 hours to complete it. But definitely in this session, I will give you the glimpse of it. Okay, so let me just go here. Let me just write down, let me just draw one diagram here and I will basically explain. So let's suppose this is my Palo Alto firewall. This is my one of the PC. And here I am having, let's say, one of the server. Now, let's suppose on this server, I am running web services on port 80. And the IP address of this server is, let's suppose, 10.2.2.100. IP address of this PC1 is 10.1.1.100. Palo Alto interface is Ethernet 1x2 and Ethernet 1x3. These are the two interface. Let's take an example. PC1 is in your inside zone of your Palo Alto, and let's suppose this server is belongs to your DMZ. Now, so what I will say, guys, this is the setup right now I'm having. Okay, now whenever basically this PC start the communication with this server, right? So how they will do the communication, right? So what they will do, this PC generally trying to communicate with this server, and we have a firewall in middle. So what this PC he will do, he will initiate a TCP request toward this server, right? And in your TCP, the first packet is your TCP SYN packet, right? So this PC1 he will send the TCP SYN towards this server. Now this SYN request is received by the firewall. Now when this firewall receives this TCP SYN request on Ethernet 1x2 interface, so what it will do? Firewall first is store this particular packet into RX buffer, because every interface it is having TX, which is transmit, RX, which is receive rings, right? And these rings they have some memory, so your packet first is stored into your RX buffer of your interface, and after that what it will do, after some time what it will do, it will deliver this particular packet to the Palo Alto internal memory, or we can say it will deliver to Palo Alto RAM. Now your packet will be stored inside the RAM. Or if I'll go according to this diagram, so you will understand in a much better, guys. What will happen? Let's suppose you have received a TCP SYN request on Ethernet 1x2 interface. This is a TCP SYN request. This request is delivered by this Ethernet 1x2 interface to one of the chip called Marvel chip or Petra chip. So if you have a fiber port, then you will see their Petra chip, right? Now this Petra chip, what it will do, it will store that packet for some time, and after that, what it will deliver this packet towards your network processor, or the chip name is Liger or Tiger. And this Liger or Tiger chip, it will deliver that packet to your data plane CPU. Now, when your packet is coming to your data plane CPU, which means in data plane, we are having one of the chip called Oction chip, guys. Now, what this chip will do, it will store the Palo Alto packet inside the RAM. Now, this is the chip who will basically store the packet inside the chip, inside the RAM, because your Oction chip, it is have a dedicated RAM basically. It is having a dedicated RAM where it will store the packet for processing. And Oction chip is also, or this chip is also known as a data plane CPU, which means all your daemon, which is responsible for your data plane processing, is a part of your Oction chip. They are running on this particular chip. The first daemon who will basically start processing this packet is known as a pen task. So this is the daemon pen task who is responsible for doing the packet processing according to the life of a packet. What is the life of a packet, guys? What it will do according to life of a packet? The first stage in your life of a packet is ingress stage. Then we have a flow lookup stage. Then we have a slow path. Then we have a fast path. These are the stages basically, different stages in your Palo Alto firewall. Ingress stage, flow lookup, slow path, fast path. Then we have a app ID. Guys, just remember one thing, it's a TCP SYN request. So that request will not go to your app ID. Now guys, now this app ID, let's suppose after TCP three-way handshake, we have sent some data packet, right? And when this data packet received by the Octi on chip, and now if on that particular data, if we want a layer 7 inspection, in that case, what it will do, it will send that packet towards your pattern matching engine, where we have a Jaguar chip. It's a FPGA. Okay, now in this Jaguar chip, what it will do, it will be responsible for your app ID, and it is also responsible for your content ID. So all your layer 7 inspection is done by the Jaguar chip. And after doing the layer 7 checks, what it will do, it will basically update the results to this particular Octeon chip again. And now Octeon chip, what it will do the processing at per, like it will do send the packet at the forwarding stage. So these are the few stages we are having in your Palo Alto firewall. If I'll show you one diagram here, I'm talking about all these steps. We have received the packet, it will go into the ingress processing, right? Then your firewall fast path, then session setup, or we can say slow path, app ID, then your content ID, and after that we have a last stage, which is forwarding stage, right? This is a pretty old diagram, guys. It will not have all the information, but still we can refer this particular diagram. Okay, so now guys, how you will answer this question, how Palo Alto firewall handles the traffic? So generally, if I'll use to answer this question, I used to answer in this way. Let me write down the things here. So this PC here initiate the request. This request is TCP SYN request. Now this SYN request received on Palo Alto 5 Ethernet 1x2, right? So what it will do, it will start the ingress processing. It will start the processing at ingress level. And what it will do, in ingress level, what it will do, you can see these particular logs as well. These are the live logs which I have taken from the Palo Alto firewall. You can see we have received the packet at ingress stage. So what Palo Alto it will use to do, it will use to check the length of the packet, and it will basically check the port and interface details where it has received. And after that, it will try to create a work queue index, because now Palo Alto firewall wants to do some work, right? So it will create here work queue index. And after that, it will start the parsing of that particular packet. So it will start parsing it from layer 2, then layer 3, and after that your layer 4. At layer 2, what it will extract the source MAC and destination MAC. At layer 3, it will extract source IP, destination IP, and layer 3 protocol number. And if you know, for TCP protocol number is 6. Version is 4. We are having here IPv version 4. This is a type of service, which is your QoS bits. This is the length of that particular packet. This is the TTL. This is the checksum, right? This is your fragment offset value. This is the ID on this, or identification value on this particular packet. This is your IP header related information. Then we have a TCP header where we have a source port, destination port. This is the sequence number, guys. And just remember, in your send request, we have some initial sequence number and acknowledge number is 0, right? So we have a acknowledge number 0. We have a result bit, then offset windows. This is the windows size. This is the window size advertised by that particular client machine. Then this is the checksum value. Then we have a flag. And right now, SYN flag is set. This is the other information, right? So like that, it will do the processing. So what it is doing the processing at ingress level, right? And after that, what it will do? It will starting the flow lookup. We have discussed this thing, right? It will do the flow lookup. Flow lookup means it will check the session table. It will check the session table. So generally, what will happen? How it will create the session now, guys? So let me just write down these points so you will get some idea. So it will do the ingress stage. What are the component we have in ingress stage? We will see in your live classes, because I will not able to cover that part in that class. And afterward, the second thing what it will do the flow lookup, right? So we have seen it has already extracted your source IP, your destination IP, your source port, your destination port, your layer 3 protocol information, and your ingress zone, right? Ingress interface and ingress zone is he has already extracted. So guys, in your flow or in your session, these are the 6 tuple of your session table. So it will what Palo Alto used to do, it will collect all these information and it will run the MD5 hash, and whatever hash value it will get, that hash value is known as a flow key. And now that flow key it will store into your, or it will store into the flow table. That flow table where it will maintain, it will maintain this flow table using the MongoDB database. So when I will say it will do the flow lookup, what it will do, it will extract this information and it will get the flow key, and after it will match this flow key with the flow table for checking the existing flow. But you have seen it's a first packet, right? Because it's a first packet, so it is not having any kind of flow, right, on the flow table. So if you will see here into the logs, it is starting the flow lookup running. So you will see pan flow run process had been started and it has found no active flow found. Now it is just enqueuing this particular packet for the session creation. Now this time this packet go into your slow path. Your packet going into the slow path, right? Now in slow path, what it will do? So this is the information already extracted by the firewall, right? So we see all this information. So it will do the lookup into your policy based forwarding policies, PBF lookup. Then it will try to do the session setup, then net policy lookup, right? So it will do here PBF lookup, or we can say it is also known as routing lookup. Then session setup, then net policy lookup. It has matched one of the net rule. Then net rule type is destination net, translate IP is this one. So again, it is doing the routing lookup, right? Then it is going to the session setup stage, translated zone and other details. Now it will do the security policy lookup. Then it is sending that packet for the PCI policies we are having. It is also scanning that packet against your profiles. So if we are having DOS protection policies, will check here, right? So you will see, and after it will create a session, it will install this session into the session table. Okay, so guys, in your session table, when my Palo Alto firewall, it will basically install this particular session into the session table. So there is a one process is known as Azure process. This process will take care of this particular session life. So we have a different life of our sessions as well on Palo Alto firewall. Like it will move towards from init to opening, then active, then discard, then so it is having around 7 lives of this particular packet. Okay, so all these things is taken care by this Azure process. Okay, after flow lookup, it will go towards your slow path. In slow path, we have multiple checks like zone protection check, TCP state check, then routing lookup or PVF lookup, then your net policy lookup, then your application cache lookup, right? User ID cache lookup, then authentication policy lookup, and after it will move towards your security policies, then your DOS policy, then your TCI policies. So it has to go through with all these checks in slow path. And if all the checks will be passed by the firewall, his session will be installed into the session table. And after that, the fourth thing, it will go towards your fast path. Then your app ID. So like that, your Palo Alto firewall do the processing of this particular packet, guys. After doing all this processing, this packet go till this server. So you have to explain like that, and after that this server will give the reply. And reply what? You will receive TCP SYN plus ACK message, right? Now in this TCP SYN plus ACK, what are the stages? SYN plus ACK is also go through ingress stage, then your flow lookup, and after that your this time flow will be fine, so it will bypass your session setup state, and that packet go towards the first path. Then your app ID, generally in app ID it will not go, guys, because it's a TCP SYN plus ACK. So TCP SYN plus ACK and ACK, they don't have any kind of application layer content, so that packet will not go. But I'm just writing so you will not forget this particular flow. Then content engine, so it will not go through with this as well, but I'm just writing here. And after that your forwarding stage. This is how your Palo Alto firewall process TCP SYN plus ACK. If you want to see the logs for TCP SYN plus ACK, we can go here and we can see the logs. This packet is your TCP SYN plus ACK. Packet received at ingress stage, so it will go through with all the ingress stage processing. Now it is going towards your flow lookup. This time one active flow found and in queue toward the first path. So which means your slow path will be bypassed, and this is the session ID of that particular session, which is already created by the Palo Alto firewall when it has received the TCP SYN request. Then your fast path. So in fast path, it will do few checks. It will apply the net. So whatever net rule is evaluated, it will always apply the net rule in your fast path only. It will also do the forwarding lookup. And guys, generally now it is directly going into your forwarding stage, because for TCP SYN, SYN plus ACK and ACK, app ID and content ID will be bypassed always. Always just remember. See, in forwarding state it has do the route lookup. Route has been found. This is the egress interface. This is the egress zone 1, right? Resolve the ARPs. It is doing the ARP lookup. ARP entry is found and packet is transmitted on the wire. That's how your packet will be processed. And after that, if I'll go here, so this packet is received here. Now, what you will, this PC, he will send again one more packet, which is TCP ACK message. Now, how this ACK is processed? So ACK packet will also go through with your ingress stage, flow lookup, fast path, and forwarding. These two checks will be bypassed, and after this ACK message, it will reach till this server. Now this machine, he will send HTTP GET request. It will send HTTP GET request. Now how this HTTP GET request will be processed? Your ingress stage, then your flow lookup. Because this HTTP GET, it is having some application layer data, right? Then your first path, and after that you will see it is going towards your app ID, then your content ID, and after that it will go towards the forwarding stage. So this is how your HTTP GET request is processed by the Palo Alto firewall, and that's how your Palo Alto firewall do the processing of these particular packets. So if you will explain like that in your interviews, which means now interview will know, you know, at least all the process which is happening for Palo Alto. So that's how you have to explain. So this is the explain, guys. Generally this type of explanation is done by the peoples who is having some, we can say, some good knowledge on Palo Alto firewall. If you have a very excellent knowledge on Palo Alto firewall, then your answer is like that. You can take the reference of this particular diagram, and what you have to do, you have to answer like that. We receive packet, we will receive a TCP SYN request on each on one of the physical interface like Ethernet 1x1. It's a TCP SYN. Then this SYN request is basically delivered to the Marvel chip. And after this Marvel chip, it will hold this packet for some time, and after it will forward this packet towards your network processor, and your network processor will forward your traffic towards the Octeon chip, which is also known as your data plane CPU. Now, when this packet reaches to this data plane CPU, your Palo Alto firewall start doing the packet processing according to the life of a packet. What it will do, it will start processing the packet according to life of a packet or according to the packet flow. So your ingress stage processing, your flow lookup, your fast path, your slow path, your forwarding, everything is done by this particular Octeon chip. So this is how you can basically, you will start answering your question. And whenever you will basically explain the app related stuff or content related stuff, you will introduce the new chip, or we can say new engine, which is pattern matching engine or Ocelot engine, where we have a Ocelot or Jaguar chip. So you will see in high end boxes they have a Jaguar chip, in low end boxes you will see Ocelot chip. Here we have a Liger and Tiger chip, right? So in low high end boxes you will see Tiger, in low end boxes you will see Liger. Marvel chip, it is responsible for your copper port, and your Petra chip, it is responsible for your SFP plus ports or your fiber ports. And all these chips, they have a connectivity with these particular links, right? These links is known as a joy links. These are the high speed fiber links. Okay. So this is how you will start answering your question. And after that, basically, you can go basically like that. And if he's not still certified, then you can introduce this particular diagram. Like in ingress stage, what it will do? It will start the extraction. So what it will do, it will extract your packet, or generally the best time you will see, it will start parsing of your packets. It will do layer 2 parsing, layer 3 parsing, and layer 4 parsing. And it will collect your source MAC, destination MAC, source IP, destination IP, your layer 3 protocol number, then your source port, destination port, your flag details on TCP, right? And after that, what? It will try to identify your ingress interface, or it will do the zone lookup. So it will get to know, oh, I have received this packet on my inside zone, right? If sometime you will receive the fragmented packet, so your ingress stage, it will also responsible doing the IP fragment reassembly. It will assemble all the frames, and then only it will forward this packet, right? And after, it will also check the packet for ingress process errors. Means it will check if there is any header errors on the packet. It will check that. If he will found, oh, header is malformed, not properly formatted as per the RFC, what it will do, it will discard this particular packet. Otherwise, it will send this packet for firewall inspection. And what they will do here, they will basically also check your packet if this particular traffic related to the IPsec VPN or a SSL VPN or a packet related to GRE tunnels, right? If that packet belongs to IPsec VPN, SSL VPN or GRE, what that packet is, they will send towards the crypto engine. Because in Palo Alto Firewall, we have a dedicated engine, or we can say dedicated crypto engine, or we can say SSL engine, who is responsible for all these particular jobs. They will do the tunnel decryption, and after that they will forward this packet towards the ingress process again, which means because now they will get the actual header, the actual internal header on that packet. And after that, that packet go towards the firewall session lookup, which is also known as flow lookup. Session match found, if yes, then it will go towards your fast path processing, which is your layer 2 to layer 4 firewall processing. Otherwise, your packet go towards your slow path. In slow path, let me just give you brief about it. In slow path, it will do the forwarding lookup, net policy lookup, firewall security policies, right? It will check. So your security rules check happens in the slow path. Your net rule evaluation happens in silo path. Your routing happens in silo path. And this is the basically we can say process or a stage of packet processing in Palo Alto, which really needs some time. And that's why your stateful inspection is helping, because due to stateful inspection, we just need to send first packet through the slow path, and after that remaining packet, they will always go through the fast path, right? Then in fast path, it will do the layer to layer for firewall processing. Then it will basically also start the SSL engine if you have configured the SSL decryption. If app is identified, then it will bypass the app IG engine. Otherwise, it will go towards your app identification engine, where it will check the app override policies, then pattern-based application identification, security policy lookup, right? So then your content inspection, if you're matching the content inspection, then that packet go towards your SP3 engine. And after that, here your URL filtering, your antivirus, anti-spyware, your file policies, everything will kick in. At the end, basically, we can say, at the last, it will go towards your forwarding stage, which is this one, where it will do the layer 3 lookup, layer 2 lookup, right? If QS is configured, then it will apply the quality of service shaping. If he received the fragmented, or if fragmented needed, then it will do the fragmentation, right? And after that, if the traffic towards to the BP, related to the BPN, then it needs to encapsulate that traffic, right? And after that, it will basically forward this packet through transmit or through the exit interface or egress interface. So this is the we can say basic packet flow explanation, guys, because this diagram is a pretty old diagram. This is released by Palo Alto is in 2010. So in your classes, I don't use to discuss this diagram. I used to discuss one of the diagrams. So let me just open it. So you will get some idea. So I'm having that diagram somewhere here only. Yep, this is the one, life of a packet in Panos, because now there are lots of things is introduced by the Palo Alto firewall. If you will see in Ingress stage, they have introduced this DOS block table stuff. We will cover what is the exact sequence of handling this IPsec packet, SSL packet, GRE packets, right? Then in your flow lookup, they have into lots of things like John protection profile. Then it will do the IP user and user group cache, then application cache, right? Then forwarding lookup, net policy lookup. So everything we will discuss in detail, right? Then they have introduced DOS policy here, right? And after that, your security policies. I have created this diagram for that purpose only, where you will get the latest PAN-OS architecture, how it is designed, and how it will basically do the packet processing. Okay, so this particular part I used to cover in your classes, in your troubleshooting webinar. Then this is related to your application identification and all, because it has a very big block. So I will cover that part basically in your live classes, guys. Okay, so this is it for this particular session, guys. Now let me just stop the recording.